broken? Is it broke? Something broke? Oh, it is?
We broke my friend's new Bronco on only our third trip out to Northwest OHV in Bridgeport, Texas. I thought it would be a good idea if we went straight from the entrance to this section right here, which is over in the very far west of the park, and went up a series of pretty steep ledges that I was familiar with but are still a challenge. The Bronco handled trails like this just fine on our first two trips, so this time I brought us straight to this really difficult section because I thought it would be a little more fun to jump into things. At the top of this section there's a 3-foot ledge which seems like it gets more undercut and a little bit taller every time I get there. You eventually have to get a line on the far right if you want to make it up. Anyway, we were taking the Bronco up this and everything seemed fine until it didn't. You can see from this angle that he was having the same trouble that I did, where your rear tire comes up to the ledge and then it kind of sits down into a hole where it's been dug out. And then at that point, you just don't have enough traction to pull yourself up and over. He gives it some gas here, and what you can't see is the whole front end of the Bronco sliding to the left and slamming into a rock with the tire turned at a sharp angle. I think that's when the driver's side tie rod snapped, but none of us had realized it yet. From the back of the vehicle, I was listening to the spotter instructions, and he kept saying to turn the wheel this way or that way, but I didn't see that driver's side wheel turning. And at this point, I was wondering if something was wrong, and you can see me walk up to the front to take a look and see what's going on. And then I noticed what happened.
Hey Paul, turn the wheels to your driver's side.
Is it broken?
And that put us in a pretty awkward situation. Take a look at this. On the left, you're going to see the tie rod sticking out, and on the right, you're going to see where it should be connected to the wheel. Now we have one Bronco with half of it steering left, halfway up a ledge, and we have to get it almost the entire way out of the park, down more trails to get to flat ground. Fortunately, the other 3 Jeeps in the group have winches and recovery gear, so dragging him up and off this ledge is not a big deal.
Yeah, your back wheels are still rolling, so you can still push it up some.
Bigger problem is that a flatbed or a tow truck is not going to be able to reach this section of the park. We need to pull the Bronco to a more accessible location without causing further damage to the wheel. There were some very optimistically dumb ideas tried, including pipe clamps and tape, and of course none of it worked. From the west end, the best route we can come up with is to go through some muddy, rocky, medium difficulty terrain in the 2L trails, down a short rocky slope, and then we'll finally be on fairly flat main road terrain. My Jeep is the heaviest, so I'm doing the towing duties here, and we have the Bronco rigged up with a basic tow strap, and the goal here is to pull it slowly, and hopefully the driver's side tire will keep rolling straight and not pop to the left or the right.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down. Hey, slow down a bit.
Nothing is keeping that front wheel straight, so anytime it hits a larger rock or the Bronco's starting to turn in one direction, there's the chance that that tire can completely steer left or right.
What was that noise? Whoa, whoa,
Stop.
Stop.
If the wheel turns too hard in one direction, it'll get stuck and and just drag instead of rolling. So every time that happens, we have to get it straight enough that it'll start rolling again.
You're good.
There's a bunch of nasty Bridgeport mud up ahead. That's the yellow mud that stinks. It gets into everything, and it's filled with little tiny rocks that get in your fenders. But in this case, it's a pretty good thing, because having all that slippery mud means that if the tire turns, it'll just slide a little bit, and we don't have to worry quite as much. This is the last 100 yards of the tow before we get to flat terrain, but it's also the most difficult. Going downhill, there's a whole bunch of really big rocks coming up, and it's not entirely straight, so it'll be hard to tow him in a way that keeps the wheel rolling. Right here, there's a big rock across the entire path. Predictably, the wheel kicks out at an angle and wedges the entire vehicle in place. Check out that broken tie rod hanging down right by the rock. We have some really good luck right here. We use a really careful pulling angle, and the tire's all muddy and it slides past the rock and just pops right back into place. We're off the trails now and into the quarry, which is completely flat. We decide to just continue pulling the Bronco since it's rolling pretty well, and go ahead and take it all the way to the entrance.
Might as well just tow me all the way back to my house.
You might have heard of the rivalry between Jeep and Bronco owners.
That's about right, because I figured about it.
No offense to my friend and to Bronco owners, but I am a Jeep guy. So let's turn on the Jeep counter and see just how many witnesses got to take part in this walk of shame.
All the Jeeps driving by looking at the
Bronco
being towed by a Jeep.
Oh, look at he's got a big old Honda.
It's me. Give me to the parking
Look
lot.
at, I should take a picture of you of everybody's faces. Everybody's look.
The worst possible time. All these Jeeps coming by.
Of course. Everybody's face.
There's a trailer just down the front.
Yeah, just keep going.
You don't want to be taunted by all these Jeep people? I got all their faces.
Alright, got my good camera crew back there.
It's hysterical, everybody's faces. Hopefully you can zoom it in.
I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty satisfying to tow that Bronco past that many Jeeps.
Alright, just find us a flat spot where we can back the trailer in front of it, I guess. That's good. You're good.
Our friend in the white Jeep from earlier was a hero and went all the way home, grabbed his flatbed trailer, came all the way back, and it was just a matter of loading up the Bronco, and they took it directly to a shop from there. We all went out to eat after that, had some margaritas, laughed about it, and I'm glad to tell you that that Bronco has since been completely upgraded, but that's going to be a story for the next video. Thanks for watching Kaler Adventure, and I'll see you next time.